Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know that we are in a very difficult time at the moment with the coronavirus raging rampage across the world. I really cannot make this video without acknowledging the current situation, especially here in the UK, where the cases have gone up from 50 to 1200 in the span of a week. And the UK government is not taking measures and locking it down like the rest. Hopefully, this will come sooner before it is too late. And for all you viewers, hope this video provides that bit of an entertainment whilst you and your loved ones are safe and secure within your homes. In today's video, let's look at the iPad Air evolution. Since the introduction of iPad back in 2010, the iPad always weighed in excess of 600 grams. In fact, the iPad I used before the iPad Air was the 4th gen iPad, and it weighed a whopping 700 grams, and you could feel the weight whilst holding the device in your hand. That is why the next year when the iPad Air was introduced, and with its sub 400 grams weight, I sold off my iPad 4 and bought the Air, and that has been my iPad for the next 5 years. I did notice the device getting slower like 3 years into my purchase, especially when it is left out on a few of those cool multitasking abilities, because the iPad Air was the last one to feature only a gigabyte of RAM. And as the OS became more capable and resource intensive, the iPad Air began to struggle. There was a 2nd gen iPad Air with 2 gigs of RAM, and because of this, it gets the recent iPad OS support, whereas all iPads from the iPad Air 1 and older are left out. I mean, they are left out from the iPad OS update, but Apple still releases software updates for them. I mean, look at this, my iPad Air 1 got this update a few days ago. So that is really cool thing of Apple to still support devices which aren't current. Now, after the iPad Air 2, Apple stopped the iPad Air lineup and adopted its similar form factor, but beefing up the internal specs quite a lot, and introduced the iPad Pro in 2015. Whereas they retained the form factor and most of the specs of the iPad Air Gen 1 and introduced that budget iPad 5th generation costing only $329 in 2017. So with the high-end Pro on the other end costing over $1,000 and the low-end iPad costing over just $300, there had to be a middle ground, and that is where this new iPad Air was introduced in 2019. If you compare the form factor, you can see that the newer one is slightly thinner, bigger and lighter. Also, the mute switch is gone, and this is controlled via a tap in the software settings now. Don't think I miss it that much because I used it rarely. Now the big question is the 7-year-old iPad Air 1 still usable? Let's find out, shall we? Watching movies, YouTube videos, Netflix, Amazon Prime work perfectly fine on the iPad. They do load a bit slow compared to the new ones, but in no way this feels totally obsolete. As long as the apps keep supporting this version of iOS, you will have no issues. And looking at the history of app support, they do tend to support older versions of iOS without any issues. When you try to push the older gen iPad Air a bit, then it clearly starts to struggle. See the delay it takes when opening apps. First, let's try Safari. So here, on the left hand side, the white one is the old iPad and the black one is the new iPad Air 3. So let's open the Apple website. This is a graphics intensive website. So as you see, the iPad Air loaded straight away, whereas the older one struggled. And even when you scroll, you can see the lag actually, but it's not as smooth as the newer one. Now let's try this tab, the iPad one, and then the iPad Pro. I'll tap on Learn More because this has got a few transitions and graphics. straight away. So if you can see, let me swipe that. Look at that. I mean, it's the iPad, the newer one is so smooth and the older one is very laggy. Again, you can see that actually. It's about how jerky and it is. And this one, yeah, look at this. See, I can hit replay there, but I don't even get the option, the older one. I think it's quite graphic intensive clip which is being played here. So on the older one, you don't even get the option. So yeah, I mean, it's very smooth. It all only proves that RAM is an important thing of any device, and Apple doesn't even mention how much it is on their devices. So that's Safari on the iPad. So let me clear that now. Next, let's try Apple TV. So 3, 2, sorry. Again, 3, 2, 1, go. See, it's straight away loaded on the newer one, and the older one, it's still struggling actually. There's something wrong here. It's not loading. Come on, I'm unable to tap. Seems like it crashed actually. Let me just close it down and try to reopen again. So you can see it's taking its own time. There you go, finally it loaded. Again, while scrolling, you can see this is much smoother and the older one clearly struggles. Let me actually play a video. I'll choose one from the library. So here goes. This is a full HD movie. So yeah, here it plays. And now, as you can see, actually, the newer one, it's the laminated display. So here actually, you can see the gap between the display and the frame on the older iPad. Whereas the newer one, it's a laminated display, so you can't see. Actually, it's black color. You can't see much anyways. So yeah, guys who are buying the entry-level iPad 2019, if you get the black one, I don't think you'll see such a huge gap actually, because the black kind of conceals it. So yeah, that's Apple TV on both the iPads. Yeah, it definitely struggles. Not sure how long this will be supported. I mean, it's a 7-year-old device, so yeah, I don't know how long it will be supported. Next up, let's try iMovie. I've got here a clip actually, just a 10-second clip. It's shot in 1080p at 30 frames. So let me try to export this. You know, on the older one, it's not that smooth. It is quite laggy, especially when you try to browse your files. And so here I export it at 1080p HD. You can see that the new one is obviously quicker. The old one is all right actually. It's not too far behind. But yeah, it definitely is not as smooth as the newer one. Next, let's try a game this time. This is the Asphalt 9. It is quite graphic intensive game, so it'll be interesting to see. The newer one, there you go, it straight away loads. Well, the old one. And there you go, it's done on the new one, whereas the older one still is struggling. Still goes on, it's still not there. And finally when it loads, yeah, it needs an update. Okay, that's fine, but you get the idea, so I'll leave it at that. Next, let's try Netflix. So you see, it's so quick and so fast on the new one. that 8-volt chip paired with 3 gigs of RAM is definitely making that difference. Whereas the older one, you can see actually it's stuttering a lot. And finally, let's open the Notepad app. Again, you see it's instant here, and here it takes time. So it's actually okay. The old one is still usable, I would say. It doesn't give you that smooth and lag-free experience which the newer iPads give. Well, it's 7 years old, so it's kind of nearing the end of its journey, the older iPad. So there you go, guys. That's the comparison between the older gen and the newer gen iPad Air. I mean, 7 years is a long time in the tech world, and considering that the iPad is still very much functional is really a good thing. I do not notice any issues related to battery drain, and the older iPad is still usable. But yes, it's clearly showing its signs that it's nearing the end of its journey. So that's it for the video, guys. Hope you liked it. Please leave a comment down below and let me know, and please subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks a lot for staying until the end. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.